the FBI raided the home and campaign of Texas Democrat Congressman Henry Cuellar. His attorney later said he's not a target of the investigation. There's currently a motion pending to have that search warrant unsealed. Sound familiar? But the media seems selective in which investigations it wants to cover. In fact, this might have been the first time you've ever heard of any of those investigations. And since many on the far right want to talk about the history of the FBI, its corruption, let's go there. In 2007, the FBI found $90,000 in the freezer of former Democrat Louisiana Congressman William Jefferson. The FBI said Jefferson accepted nearly $500,000 in bribes from West African government agencies. Former Democratic Pennsylvania Congressman Chaka Fattah was sentenced to 10 years in prison for corruption in December of 2016. And perhaps most memorable of all, the FBI busted eccentric Jim Traficant, Democrat of Ohio, for kickbacks. The investigation ended his time in Congress and his political career back in 2000. Now, to be clear, I am not suggesting that the FBI is targeting Democrats. Not at all. There have been prominent Republicans, like former House Speaker Denny Hastert, convicted of child molestation charges in 2017. Former House Whip Tom DeLay was sentenced to 3 years in 2011. More recently, a Michigan gubernatorial candidate, Ryan Kelly, in connection with the January 6th riots. All who were brought down by FBI investigations. What I'm saying is the FBI goes where the evidence takes them. Now, an FBI search of a former president's home is unprecedented, and that's significant. I support Republican calls for the release of a redacted version of the search warrant affidavit that justified the search at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. But it is also unprecedented to have potentially top-secret boxes of documents being quietly stashed in the former president's closet. But unlike many in the media, I'm going to wait before making any judgment on that investigation. I don't know. I wish others would do the same rather than just playing politics and claiming that the FBI is somehow politicized. In this case, targeting Republicans. They're just after us. Look, there will be times when the FBI make mistakes or worse. I've criticized them in the past for it, and I will do it again. But I do it based on evidence and facts. There is no evidence to suggest that a politicized FBI is targeting Republicans because of their political beliefs. But somehow the politicized media isn't helping to portray an accurate story of what the FBI is doing every day. Joining me now is Kristen Zeman, the former police chief of Aurora, Illinois, where she served as a police officer for 30 years, and Phil Andrew, former FBI agent and principal at Pax Group. Thanks to both of you. Appreciate it. All right, Chief Zeman, thanks for joining us. You know, we hear a lot about FBI investigations when it comes to Donald Trump and some of these others. Are you surprised? You also are a media observer. Are you surprised at how little coverage all of these arrests of these prominent Democrats has gotten?
I am. And, you know, I'll first start with my initial instinct was that maybe this is a loss of faith in trust in institutions. You know, when you look at law enforcement, however, you see that 51%, there's a 51% favorability rating, trust in police. And it's even higher for those of our federal agencies because the law enforcement profession, and especially the federal arm, they're independent agencies whose hands are guided by the rule of law. Yeah. But to answer your question, that's not what this is about. It's not about faith in institutions. It's about blind partisan loyalty. And sadly, that falls on the side of the media as well. Yeah.
And look, Phil, what I think is happening is I wonder whether the left-leaning media doesn't want to cover too much of this stuff. Oh, we don't want the Democrats to look bad because of all the arrests. And the right-leaning media doesn't want to cover this stuff because, oh, that might show that the FBI is actually even-handed.
Well, I think one of the reasons is that literally there are hundreds of public corruption cases going on at any given time. Yeah. These are complicated, time-consuming, complex cases that require a lot of resources and commitment. So when the timing of indictments or the timing of these investigations isn't dictated on politics, but it's dictated on the investment that's made and where the facts have led. And then once the level of reasonable suspicion and probable cause is established, then they execute on this. And then it depends at a high level on the media market, because there's hundreds of these going on. What happens in a particular town
that's true. Look,
may or may not get attention.
Yeah, local news is a different issue. I guess I'm talking more on the national scale. And Chief Zeman, my concern is that what's happening is that this is going to lead people to have less faith in law enforcement, period. And it's going to trickle down to local law enforcement as well. And that is my great fear.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And this is another partisan issue. And what we're seeing is that whatever side of the aisle that you bow to is where you are firmly planted on this issue. But here's the great news. There's a litmus test to checking biases, both by individuals and by the media. And that is you insert your beloved candidate, your beloved party into the action in question, and then switch it to the rival candidate. And then ask yourself if your opinion changes with the person, and that will provide you enlightenment and also probably will highlight anti-intellectualism.
Well said. Thank you to both of you. Really appreciate it. Coming up, a Democrat. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.